What's up, you guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? We are back with another video. My name is Crystal Denitra, and thank you for watching Truth TV Podcast. Today, we are going to talk about the 4 stages of narcissistic abuse, but specifically the second stage, which is the devalue stage. So I always like to start off with definitions. The devaluation is the reduction of underestimation of the worth or importance of something, the general devaluation of expertise in our culture. That would be just an example, and I'm getting that from Google. The 4 stages of the narcissistic kind of cycle is the ideation stage, whereas when you're first meeting a person, they're love bombing you, they're telling you how wonderful you are, they're telling you that, like I always give the example, you're the best thing since sliced bread. The second stage is going to be the devaluation phase. The same things that they told you that they loved about you, they all of a sudden hate. The third stage is the discard phase, which they basically just throw you out. They just stop talking to you. They go ghost you. They go no contact, and you're trying to figure out why. The fourth stage is hoovering. When they try to come back, they send little text messages, like I told you guys before, just heat checking you, trying to see where you're at mentally to see if they can come back in. But today specifically, we're going to talk about the devaluation stage. The reason why narcissists use this stage is because, number one, they feel crappy about themselves. So anytime that they can have power over someone or feel like they have power over someone, they're going to take the opportunity for it. You know, whenever they put someone down, it's almost like they're in like this godlike light where they're seen as the good person and you're seen as the bad person. You know, they really have self-esteem issues. They're really weak people, but they seem like they're the strongest ones walking the earth, but they're really not. Some of the things that I noticed is they use passive aggressive remarks. You know, they always have to say something smart or sarcastic. They make little insults and then they say that they're just joking about it. They always take little digs at you. You know what I'm saying? It's always like when you have a conversation with them, they have to say something to slight you, and that's how that starts. And then they gaslight you. They twist all your stories. You know what I'm saying? They try to deny everything. They make you question your sanity. And sometimes, you know, it can make you feel as though you're crazy because you're wondering about your self-worth. I know I have been devalued so much, even with making this podcast, and I'm going to give you guys an example because I was on fire yesterday. And I just hope that the person is watching and listening to this podcast, because it's just funny how when you tell a narcissist that you don't want to be bothered, you know, they automatically get upset and they automatically try to put whatever it is that you're telling them, they try to put it back on you. They try to make you feel low. They use deflection all the time. You know what I'm saying? They try to lower your self-esteem, your self-worth. But in the end, narcissists are really jealous people. You know, they always have to feel superior over other people. They have to make you basically feel like shit to make themselves look greater than what you are. So I'm going to give the example. Yesterday, I got a text message, or I sent a text message to someone letting them know, just as a common courtesy, that I no longer wanted to be bothered. Now, I only been knowing this person for about 2 weeks, but just watching his actions, listening to his phone calls to me, every time we will be on the phone, I can never really get a word in. It was about him, and he's a podcaster as well. So, you know, it was kind of cool in the beginning to meet someone that has the same mindset and has the same goals as you. Everything was all good. He immediately saw my pictures on Facebook. He jumped in my inbox doing a love bombing. Oh, you're so beautiful. You know, I would like to get to know you, this, and that. And then in the same breath, in the same text messages, it immediately turned sexual. He started sending D pics and, you know, telling me that he was the best thing since sliced bread. And, you know, I was starting to fall into the trap again, because sometimes us as empathetic people, you know, that loneliness will take over, but something just wasn't right with me. Like, I just went through his Facebook and I kind of just figured like, no, he kind of think he all that. And I don't want to deal with no more of them. You know, I don't want to be out in public and you the loudest thing in the room, because typically that's what narcissists do. So over the course of the couple weeks, we never hooked up. You know, he kept saying, oh, well, you know, let's hook up for coffee or let's hook up to talk about the podcast. That never happened. But I also did make it clear in the beginning that I wasn't ready to date anyone. You know, I feel like there's a lot of self-healing that I still have to do for myself in order to get myself back in that headspace. But, you know, I'm never opposed to going out with somebody. You know, when my anxiety levels are low, I don't mind just meeting up for coffee or somewhere out in a public place. But never was my intent to go to your house. You definitely weren't coming to mine. It was just we were going to meet up for business, but that never happened. So, you know, a couple times he asked for pictures, you know, he never responded to them. So slowly but surely the love bombing stopped. Like as soon as he felt like he couldn't get what he wanted from me, he stopped, you know, what's the word? He stopped giving compliments. He stopped being interested in what I was doing. I would just get 1 or 2 texts a day like, WYD, what you doing? And that's like one of my biggest pet peeves. If you're over 30, don't just what you doing somebody all day. Like it's other stuff to talk about. Like I just felt like it was childish. So, you know, like I said, every time we spoke on the phone, it was all about him and his podcast and what he had going on. And I just felt like he immediately got in competition with me. I'm like, sir, first of all, our topics are 2 different things. You talk about reality-based stuff, celebrities. I'm talking about real topics, you know. He did help me in regards to posting my page on his pages. So I gained a lot of followers on Facebook from that. And I was appreciative, you know, for him doing that. I didn't ask him to do that, but he took it upon himself to do that. So I thanked him for it. You know, I'm still getting Facebook requests to this day just because of that. And this was only about 2 weeks ago, maybe not even 2 weeks. But long story short, the text messages and the love bombing stopped. So yesterday he sent me like, what are you doing? It's never, hey, how are you? It's just, you know, these little stupid ass texts. Like I said, I get irritated and agitated about silly stuff because it's like, what are we doing? You're 55, I'm 40. You know, if we can't sit and have a conversation, then I don't want to be bothered because where is this going? So I just text them out of common courtesy because I didn't have to say anything. And I just let them know that I'm going to exit stage left. You're not talking about nothing pretty much. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be bothered. You seem kind of self-centered. You know, I put it in a nice way. So he came back with the devaluing. Oh, it seems like your paranoia and anxiety are kicking in. You're definitely not ready to date anybody. You need to seek help. So all of that stuff that you said you liked about me, now all of a sudden, because I'm telling you that I no longer want to be bothered with you or never really wanted to be bothered with you, now all of a sudden I'm paranoid and anxious. So, you know, at first I was going to ignore it. I wasn't going to say nothing about it. But then I'm like, no, Crystal, first of all, you're not going to let anybody continue to put you down. This is what you work so hard for. You working hard to heal yourself, and you're not going to let anybody come in and put down your self-worth. You know, I've heard the worst of the worst. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been called crazy so many times that at one point I started to believe that, but no, I was abused so much and didn't know how to navigate life. But now that I'm going to therapy, I'm getting the help that I need. I started this podcast, and I'm able to talk and get my things out and still able to help other people. I'm not going to let anybody devalue me. So basically what he started doing is started using the things that I would say in my podcast against me. I just want to make this very clear. I've said this so many times in the videos. I started this podcast as a healing and therapy tool, not only for myself, but for other people. But I'm definitely not going to be bullied. I'm not going to let any of my subscribers or the people that watch the videos be bullied either. You know, I've learned to grow, but then also I'm a Leo, and I will break your ass down from 5th grade till now, to whatever your age is. Don't play with me. Because I'm not that type of person. I'm not going to devalue you. I'm not going to put you down just because, you know, you may be telling me something that I don't want to hear. So I just thought it was funny. You know, I thought it was funny, but from the beginning, I can just tell that he was trying to one up me with his podcast. And like I said, he's much more further along than I am. He's much older than I am. He's 15 years older than me. So, I never was in competition. I took the help. I helped him as well, made a couple graphics on the computer for him, so he can use his thumbnails or whatever he was using it for. So, I was in it for the right thing. I just was not interested in having a relationship with him. That doesn't mean that all bets were off with everybody else. I'm being very picky and choosy who I decide to give my time and attention to. And the fact that he came off in the inbox so aggressive, and then like within 10 minutes it got sexual, that was a complete turnoff. Like, I don't want to see your D, sir. Like, I'm not asking for those type of pictures. And I can be honest and say I fell in the trap. I may send him a picture of a boob, but not the cat or whatever. But that was just all in fun. But I shouldn't even did that. I shouldn't even went that far. But the fact of the matter is, when people devalue you, give that shit right back to him. And that's exactly what I did. I told him how, he was 55, still living in an apartment. Honey, I'm living in a nice house that I own. I drive the car that I want to drive. I'm doing this all by myself with no help. I have 2 kids that I'm taking care of. They have everything that they need. I have 2 dogs that I'm taking care of. They have everything that they need. So I'm not going to allow anyone to put me down or make me feel like just because I started a podcast and I'm telling my truth, you're going to use that stuff against me. Because once again, it took me a long time to come out of my shell. And I'll be damned if somebody makes me go back in that shell. But ain't nobody making me go back in this shell, honey. I'm here to stay. I'm going to keep doing this YouTube thing. Like I said, if I don't get 50 likes on the video, at some point, someone who needs to hear what I have to say is going to come along. So my message is, don't let people put you down. Don't let people make you feel like you're worthless or you're crazy. Don't let people deflect. Be very stand up with people. I told him exactly how I felt, and typically I wouldn't say anything. And I told him that in the beginning, I have a tendency of just leaving people alone once I see that you on some BS. So he came back with, no, don't do that, because that can trigger, abandonment issues in other people. And I understood that. So I gave you the common courtesy yesterday to tell you that I was going to back away from the situation because I'm still working on myself. And I just didn't want to deal with you. I just saw straight through you. And, I don't know if he's 100% a narcissist, but I saw a lot of tendencies that I didn't like. And for him to come back and say, well, I think you're paranoia and anxiety. First of all, sir, no one ever diagnosed me with having paranoia. I've never been paranoid in my life. The only time I got paranoid is when I smoked some bad weed. Other than that, I drank some water, laid down, and kept it moving. So I don't know, where he decided to come up with all of this stuff from, but that's what people will do when you're vulnerable and you're telling your story and you're putting stuff out there. People will try to put you down for it. And I'm not going to let anybody put me down for starting this podcast. This was a decision that I made, something that God was pulling me to do for years. And I kept just putting it off. Oh, nobody wants to hear from you. Just the devil was just in my ear. But I had to get out of my own way and tell the devil to shut the hell up so I can do God's work and do what needed to be done. So to that person, sir, you're blocked from everything. I never want to hear from you again. I wish you well on your podcast. Do your thing, but just don't come my way. So that's all I have for today, guys. If you have any questions or comments about anything, you can email us at truth.tvpodcast. I would love to still hear from you. I've been asking for you guys to share your stories and things like that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram. And until next time, we will see you later. Peace.